Alright, and I know that I was just talking about, speaking of Marazhai and whoever that is, Abyss, or I don't know, some Drukhari person.
Always keep your eye on the
But
prize.
you know, I have my priorities straight, or, well, the opposite of that. So we're going to talk to Heinrix first.
Crimson is a...
Well, Argenta. That was a bad timing for some bantering, unfortunately. Oh well. Can't wait to hear how the pen and paper game is. I'm also really looking forward to that. I can tell you in... what's my calendar? What date is it today? Yeah, I got my stuff together. I can tell you in 2 weeks, cause my birthday is on the Wednesday in 2 weeks, and on Saturday we're going to play, and well, then on the Sunday stream I can tell you. Okay, Heinrix. Do you think it's faster to go through this portal and then walk this way? Probably not really with the loading time, right? I mean, especially if I just talk over it. It also doesn't improve faster. Anyway. Catch-up banter happened to all of us at least one time. Oh, depending on the game, I can't even count how often that happens. It's sad, I don't know. Don't start when you're close to the exit.
Let us not dawdle.
I think that should be something you should be able to program, or like do in the settings or whatever. Then again, I do wonder in general, like, what are the triggers for bantering? I mean, so far in Rogue Trader we also had bantering where it was clearly a dialogue, but apparently the dialogue partner, like one of them, wasn't there. Fun times. Okay. I mean, people, could you maybe clean up this bloody mess? I don't know. Okay, I mean, since we're here, we have to search for Heinrix, and I think after that we can also talk to Ulfar and Pasqal. I mean, priorities. Where's Heinrix? Psyker, Shrieker. Heinrix. Oh, why is he here all alone? Heinrix raises his head. The cold haze that surrounds him begins to dissipate. Edward, have you been looking for me? I tried to find somewhere out of the way where I could recover from the torture. Yikes. I really don't want to know how it feels like being captured by the Archmachinator. Probably one of the... I mean, saying something is the worst in this kind of town seems to be hard, because everything is basically the worst. But it really seems to be on the worst end of things. And Edward looks closely at Heinrix. Compared to how he was in the anatomical opera, Heinrix looks almost like his usual self. But you cannot help noticing the sag in his shoulders and the twitch at the corner of his mouth. He is exhausted. His biomancy must have sapped more energy than he expected. Probably he stopped it, cause the cold is dissipating. Noticing your examination, Heinrix laughs under his breath. Pay no attention. Serious internal injuries require particular focus and painstaking effort to remedy. That's all. I'm almost as good as new. Moving is no longer excruciating, at least. Yay. I was worried when I discovered that you had disappeared. I did not disappear. I just thought the others didn't need to see me in that state. Heinrix cast a sidelong glance at you. You don't need to see me like this either. I'm already on the mend, anyway. He reaches out and gently strokes your cheek. I still haven't asked what happened to you after we were captured. Or at least he's somewhat affectionate. But I guess being in Komorra shows you that, like, some things truly don't matter. I mean, we are Rogue Trader, we're still here. It's not fun. I can tell you what happened to me. It is not a pleasant story, though. Heinrix nods. Now listen. Wow, a whole hour. Your recounting takes a long time. When you finish, Heinrix is silent for several seconds. So, the Drukhari thought you were working with one of their cursed kind, and it was all because of Achilles. It seems that I, among others, are responsible for us ending up here. Why? Just cause Heinrix didn't see Achilles' betrayal? I don't think he can be blamed for that. I think if there's someone to blame, it's Yrliet, to be honest. Or like, mainly of course the Drukhari. But if we want to say someone messed up, it's Yrliet. And we're even trying to forgive her, so. You had nothing to do with that. With a bitter smile, Heinrich shakes his head. No, it would. The work of the Inquisition often draws the attention of humanity's foes to individuals who have crossed paths with the Golden Throne's agents. I wish it wasn't so, but if I hadn't sought Achilles' help, we could have avoided all of this. Silence hangs in the air. Heinrich looks at you with a strange expression. Then he sighs and brushes his fingers across your cheek again. Ah, thank you for checking up on me, but you don't need to wallow here with me. I'll put myself back together and rejoin the others soon, I promise. He also doesn't really seem to like when we really care about him or see him vulnerable. And Edward embraces Heinrix. I'm not going anywhere. Heinrix lets out... Aww. Heinrix lets out a choked moan when you hug him, but he immediately wraps his arms around you. No, don't let go. This is much, much better. Healing deep or old injuries using biomancy takes time. It's a slow, painstaking process. Especially if you have to grow a new tissue. So, you've had to do that before? Yes, I have. Heinrich smiles, but it does not reach his eyes. I mean, especially with like growing up on the black ships. I guess your childhood is pretty messed up. When my family disowned me, they also removed all the night pilot implants from my body. They don't stand on ceremony when it comes to sorcerers, so after my vivisection, I was left with a paralyzed arm and a significant chunk of cranium missing. The hole was sealed with a plate. The Lord Inquisitor took me out on the guard. He had me remove the augments and start them Psykers when they become sanctioned. So, I lost an eye and gained some nerve damage. Yikes. Poor Heinrix. You really don't want to be a Psyker here. No. Hey Rafa, nice to see you. How are you? I'm fine. Finally up and running again and really enjoying the Heinrix romance currently. Xavier didn't care that I was a meme freak. He needed me for my sorcery, nothing more. But I decided I would be more useful if I could start to look like a human again. Oh. Yay, indoctrination that something's wrong with you. Great. Can we hug him again? Heinrix brings his hand to his face. Repairing my eyeball took the longest. Even the nerve connections took less effort. Years went by before I managed to eliminate all the visual aberrations, and I could see as well as I had when I was a child. Which I guess makes the Mechanicus experiments even more traumatizing. Not that it wasn't traumatizing already. And after all that, you're still loyal to the Imperium and the Inquisition. Heinrix pulls away from you. Why wouldn't I be? The Imperium deemed me stable enough to keep me a sanctionized Psyker. The Inquisition gave me a new, higher role, a more honorable role. How could I not repay those debts? Oh, gosh. I mean, how about to treat you like a human? There could be better ways to treat you, Heinrix. It is so sad to see, well, that even this whole sanctionizing process is seen as something good. Yikes. Ah, we love our damaged man, don't we? All the way. You know, they mutilated and maimed you purely because of what you are. I'm a Psyker, Edward, and the very fact of my existence is an anathema and can only be excused by my usefulness, up until the point that I turn into a mutant or a portal to the warp. I'm under no illusions. Sanctioned or not, that is the future that awaits any sorcerer. Oh. Put. We can help you. We can hear you. Heinrix stares past you, confusion and doubt plain on his face. It was with you that I thought about what I wanted for the first time. I can remember it clearly. Back then, all that time ago, I wanted to live, and I was given a chance to. This has already been a great gift from he who stands above all of us. It would be immoral to wish for more from my fate. No. Wish for more than just being alive. Or just being useful. And Edward sighs and goes for a kiss with Heinrix. Your presence gives me strength. Heinrix presses you tightly against him, and the warmth of his body chases away some of the dank chill closing in around you. Heinrix presses his lips to your forehead. Stay with me a little bit longer. Just be next to me. Oh. Of course, I shall be here as long as you need. Heinrix brings your fingers to his lips and closes his eyes. Oh. At least some respite in Komora, but it wasn't really a wholesome conversation. Sigh. Let's see if we can somehow get him to be in more lifted spirits and maybe leave the Inquisition. I think that's pretty connected. Anyway, Heinrix's stare seems to pass straight through you, but his face is tensed almost to the point of twitching. He nods wordlessly to you. There's quite a lot of things we can talk about. So, how's your recuperation progressing?
It will take some time. I can heal grievous wounds and correct disfigurement, but remake my nerve endings from scratch. Such delicate and painstaking work is beyond my capabilities. Every day with you brings new challenges.
Yeah, that sounds way less romantic or even friendship-like. Every day with you brings new challenges. Heinrix delivers the last part with a grim smile. Or was it his reaction to Yrliet in our party, maybe? You know, I have something to tell you. Yrliet confessed to killing Achilles Calendar.
By the throne! Why have you still not put the Xenos to death? First treachery, and now the murder of an agent of the Golden Throne. What will it take for you to act? A knife in your own heart?
Okay, that's weird. I mean, we just had the talk about Achilles betraying us. So why is he now still an agent of the Golden Throne? He's working with the Drukhari. We just talked about that. Heinrix, listen. You said that yourself. Heinrix stares at you without blinking. Then his mouth twists into a pained grimace. And I mean, I'm confused. You know, she said that Calendar had betrayed the Imperium and was himself conspiring with Marazhai.
Allow me to state the most likely version of events. The Xenos Yrliet embarked on a plot with the Xenos Marazhai, Achilles discovered said plot and paid for it with his life. And afterward, they fed you this poorly concocted tale to exonerate the enemies of humanity of wrongdoing.
Okay, that's clearly a mistake in writing. I mean, we just had the talk with him. He knew about Achilles, and he was also on board with how could he betray us, and it's my fault, it came to that. And now he's like, that can't be true? What? That doesn't add up. At all. I mean, even if the order is weird, that doesn't work. A dark and slightly crazed laugh bursts from the interrogator's lips. He breaks off after a moment and proceeds to speak in a measured, icy voice. The game is confused. Me as well, Marazhai. You know, we need every ally we can get in this place. If only to enable us to escape and continue to serve the Imperium.
The Xenos Yrliet must not be enjoying her sojourn in her cousin's capital if she is eager to help her own victim. The irony.
Heinrix let his head fall back and thinks for a few moments, and then he laughs spitefully. That really doesn't add up with what we just heard in the Roman scene. So, what do you know about this place?
Regrettably, little. Camorra is the city of the Drukhari, the sprawling Xenos domain built in the very plexus of the webway. This is the home of their cabals, and the launch point for their raids into real space. The Xenos' most supreme leaders dwell within the shadows of this place, and this is where the Drukhari bring their bounty, as they have brought us.
And I guess it makes sense that you don't know much about the city, because, well, I guess usually it's a one-way trip. And you don't really want to go around and explore for fun.
I would tell you more, but I can't. Not because of the prohibitions of the Inquisition, but because the information is fragmentary and unverified. Based on what we have learned here, we are in the prison of one of the arenas where the Drukhari killed their prisoners as public entertainment. These Xenos feed off pain, which means that entertainments like this are not a whim, but a necessity for these abominations. They need pain more than they need air to breathe, and so these performances must be held unceasingly, and raids to acquire new victims must continue without interruption.
Yeah, the result is the arena fun we already witnessed. Yrliet was as much a victim as all of us were. I would definitely say that she's also a victim. But I mean, in the end, she made the mistake. And she made a mistake, and that caused all of us going here. So, I know that she didn't do it, like, willingful. And she also didn't want us to end up here. But she messed up. Would definitely. I wouldn't condemn her. To be, like, on her own or to kill her based on that. But she did mess up. I think it's a different story with her compared to us. And I can understand that, like, looking at how the Drukhari handled all of us, I can really understand being very upset with her. Because, I mean, yeah, that mistake led to lots and lots of torture. So, how can we escape this place?
I cannot offer a ready-made escape plan.
Sad.
But I do know that the Drukhari are constantly vying and warring with one another. Their chiefs take pains to keep their servants from complete mutual destruction. Perhaps, if you could find a way to exploit their personal feuds, we will have the faintest chance of survival, and an opportunity to slip away.
I mean that the other thing, even if we can slip away, like, where do we want to go? And if we want to flee Camorra and make it back to real space, don't we, like, almost mandatory need Yrliet? Because, I mean, it's in the middle of the webway and no one else knows how to navigate through the webway or how it works or anything. So even if he wouldn't have forgiven Yrliet, I think it's just a pragmatic choice. Anyway. I don't know if I want to ask for... But in general, not only the thing about Achilles, which is like completely 180 turned compared to the Romans talk, but also the whole attitude is so hostile, while just like 5 minutes before he was really vulnerable and... I must take my leave.
The Emperor protects.
Well... Sweet Valentine. Okay, let's talk with Pasqal first.
May these instructions protect the machine spirits that serve me from the blasphemies of corrupted technology.
I also do wonder if we had failed our persuasion check, I think it was persuasion, right? For him to not rub out this cursed xenometal, would he have died? I'm just happy we got Pasqal to tag along. Pasqal is deeply focused on drawing protective runes with sacred unguents on the metal surfaces of his mechadendrites. If I may ask, how are you feeling after all the punishment your body has taken?
Comprehension in progress. The operating principles of Xenobogmetics, while alien to the canon blessed by the Adeptus Mechanicus, are nonetheless quantifiable. They feed, as parasites do, on my blood and the charge of my potentia coil. I, in turn, feed on their mystery as I nurse new comprehension within me. It is painful. It is necessary.
Yikes. Yeah. And I mean, then to be somewhat angry at Yrliet really makes sense. This thing from the Vox is reminiscent of a tortured groan. Poor pass. So, aren't you afraid these parasites will devour your soul from within?
This statement is partly true. I have introduced protective equations into the algorithmic chain to guard the digital spirit against the corruption of heresy. The xeno-augmetics embedded in my flesh are yet to be comprehended. The lack of knowledge is painful. But by the Omnissiah's grace, my analysis will conquer their mysteries. Martyrdom is the path to knowledge.
Okay, whatever keeps you going. So, any valuable thoughts on how we can get out of here?
Strategic recommendation. Analysis has shown that the non-human community is racked by strife. Exploiting the Xenos' mutual differences can result in temporary alliances that will provide the technological means of returning the unit von Valancius to real space.
What I really like is that in his voice you can hear like more fluctuation and also more like disturbances, which is a really nice way to show that he's damaged. Which sounds not very empathic, but well, I like that regarding sound design. How does it feel to be in Gomorrah? It is a rare opportunity. Thankfully it is.
This place is calling out to the Omnissiah for an act of purifying and gracious genocide. The spatial disharmony observed here points to its anathematic nature. That being said, complete extermination is not advised.
It is not.
Those in possession of technological knowledge should be rounded up and subjected to interrogation and vivisection prior to disposal.
Of course. You wouldn't be Pasqal if you didn't suggest that. You know, we've been betrayed, Pasqal.
Reverse analysis is shown the act of sabotage to have been predictable. The directives for interacting with Xena races warn about non-humans' proclivity for breaching contracts. The data concerning the unreliability of the unit Yrliet has been archived.
That's because voice is dry and indifferent, but his drilling mechanism dries raw, menacingly. Just don't lose your morale. We're going to make it.
May the filters of knowledge bestowed upon us by the machine god protect us from the temptations and horrors of blasphemous revelations.
Just looking at the dialogue menu, I don't think it's supposed to go there. I think it's the usual on board of the Voyage one, because we could dismiss him, like, where to? And we can ask him about Dement's Neuro-Opmatic. We're not gonna use them, so the game doesn't crash or something.
May your labors be effective and fruitful.
And that also was like the normal, settled, uncorrupted voice.